So I thought I'd walk through some of the differences between Citrix as an IaaS service, Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365. So in terms of your user creation and management, Active Directory is available for all of these, whether it's Active Directory, Azure Hybrid or Azure AD. So for endpoint devices, for the security around those, who's responsible for that device? Well, as we've heard, same as the Citrix solutions and Azure Virtual Desktop, you can launch Windows 365 from a browser, or it can be from a client, and it can be from any company device, or bring your own device. Endpoints can be anything from desktops, laptops, iPads, Mac, Windows, Linux, all of them are available. Moving on to access, this is where we start to see some differences. So for Citrix, we're talking about NetScalers and Webfront. For something like RDS, we're talking about Remote Desktop Gateway, web access. With AVD and Windows 365, both of those elements are handed over and managed by Microsoft. So it's not something you need to do from an administration point of view. Similarly with control, delivery controllers on Citrix, you're directly used towards your sort of Zen app and Zen desktop environments. That's all being managed by Microsoft. Then we look at resources. So what can you run on these platforms? We're looking at things like host pools with pooled desktops. We're looking at personal desktops, application groups and individual remote apps. All of those are available from an IaaS implementation of Citrix and also from Azure Virtual Desktop. For Windows 365, it's just a desktop only. And then in terms of hosting, ultimately you can run IaaS on the cloud, but you wouldn't do it if you were starting today. If you were staying with a Citrix environment, you'd be looking to leverage Citrix Cloud for a hybrid scenario. If you wanted to start from scratch and start with VDI completely on Azure, you'd be looking at either Azure Virtual Desktop or Windows 365, and that really comes down to what do you need to be delivering. Is it just desktops, or is it desktops and remote apps? So here there's some sort of comparisons of the features between Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop. You can now consume Azure Virtual Desktop direct from Citrix and VMware VDI installations. So using Citrix again as the example, it seems to be the most popular one with people we've spoken about. You can leverage Citrix Cloud, and within that you can create a cloud connector, and that can point you towards an Azure Virtual Desktop environment, which you will have to set up in Azure. So if you've got existing infrastructure and existing skills in-house, but you want to look at something like Azure Virtual Desktop, this is an area that you can potentially investigate further. So looking at these three, what's the right solution for you? As we've mentioned, the benefits on the right of if you've already got existing skill sets. If you've got no skills in VDI and no deployment at all, but it's something you want to pursue, you can work with a partner to deploy Azure Virtual Desktop, or you can go it alone with Windows 365. And then really just from the things that we've discussed today, there's a high level comparison here really from Windows 365. So if we said this new term you're going to hear, Cloud PC, that is what Windows 365 is. And then Cloud VDI, so Azure Virtual Desktop, much more flexible. You've got more control over what you're delivering and the configuration and management of that. Also includes the ability to do remote app streaming, so if that's a requirement. And unlike the Cloud PC, it's not a predictable per user price, but is consumption based.